Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Arg. What was this thing? Don't suck me in. The evil spirit shrieked in fear. It could also feel the terrifying power of the cauldron of mountain and river. Fear and fear rose from the bottom of its heart. Don't worry, Yunxiao said lightly. The most important thing now is to suppress this blood fiend. You'll stay in there for a while. When I have enough strength to refine it, I'll let you out. Boom boom boom. The entire world of Bloody Sea was absorbed into the cauldron of mountain and river. The lid of the cauldron, which was covered with 9-colored light, fell down and let out a huge roar. Yunxiao performed an incantation gesture, and the world power of the cauldron of mountain and river slowly retracted. The body of the cauldron returned to normal and began to spin in the air. The cauldron of mountain and river was also a saint weapon, and it had the complete power of the world. Even if the blood beast had a hammer with the rule of thunder, it wouldn't be able to break it. Moreover, this cauldron was a divine item that could refine all living things. As long as it was given enough time, even a peak martial supreme would be completely refined in it. Yunxiao wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Driving the cauldron of mountain and river was still a great burden on him, not to mention that he had just separated his starlight clone, which consumed a lot of his soul power. He performed an incantation gesture, and the phoenix divine flame slowly descended from the sky and began to burn the cauldron. His goal was to refine the blood beast and take out the swelling earth and the hammer. As for the other profound level weapons, although they were precious, other than the ruler, they were not worthy of his attention. If you play like this, that evil spirit will probably be finished. The demonic dragon's body appeared, and he looked extremely displeased as he said, "You're breaking your promise." What? Yunxiao snorted. Are you angry? We are both spiritual bodies, but I feel sad for you. The demonic dragon said in a deep voice. Yunxiao smiled and said, "It's not as serious as you think. My method of refining is only to refine the fiendish energy in the blood beast and break down its body structure. In this way, it can be completely subdued without hurting its soul. The evil spirit would only suffer a little inside. At most, I'll just find a stronger body for it to settle down in." I hope so, the demonic dragon said coldly. Yunxiao nodded slightly and said, "How's your cultivation of the dragon bone bead?" At the mention of this item, the demonic dragon's interest was piqued. He said with exultation, "I've already refined it into my body, and I've obtained an unexpectedly powerful strength." He didn't expect the rumor of the 9 creatures transforming into dragons to be true. The descendant of the heavenly black dragon was able to suppress all the experts in the city with just 3 dragon-type secret treasures. It was truly incredible. If he gathered all 9 and transformed into a true dragon, wouldn't he be invincible? Ancient true dragons can only be derived by gathering the dragon chi of heaven and earth, Yunxiao said thoughtfully. Although there is such a legend about the 9 creatures transforming into dragons, it is too unreal. It was extremely difficult to gather the 9 items. However, Ing Luo. He said thoughtfully, there are many treasures in the 4 seas. It shouldn't be difficult to gather 9 dragon objects with the power of the 4 seas. However, I've never heard of a real dragon being born. There must be something strange about the dragon transformation. Yes, I think it's also greatly related to bloodline, the demonic dragon muttered. We've been to the 4 seas, but we haven't seen any overly heaven-defying characters. But no matter what, you have to be careful the next time you encounter Xiangzi. If the power of the dragon transformation continues to increase by several times, it will indeed be a big problem. A cold gleam flickered in Yunxiao's eyes as he said, "I think there's something wrong with that Xiangzi as well. I'm afraid it's not as simple as just having the royal bloodline of the 4 seas. If there's a chance, I really want to personally investigate his actual situation. Perhaps I can unravel the secret of the true dragon." "Just be careful," Prince Evil Dragon said with a bitter smile. "I also hope to have the opportunity to get in touch with that level." Yunxiao did not say anything, but quietly burned the cauldron of mountain and river to refine the blood beast. Suddenly, his expression changed drastically, turning pale in an instant. He spat out a large mouthful of blood in the air, his eyes filled with shock. What's going on? A soul power backlash? What? The demonic dragon was shocked. Is that thing so difficult to refine that it can devour your soul in the Divine Realm tablet? Yunxiao's face was pale as he shook his head slightly and said, My soul power is indeed greatly damaged, but it's not about this cauldron. It seems that I can't rush to refine the blood fiends. My starlight soul body has been destroyed. He took a deep breath and sat down in the air. He closed his eyes and said, Let me calm down. A lot of information is flooding into my mind now. I'll digest it one by one. The demonic dragon no longer spoke. The true phoenix fire on the cauldron of mountain and river receded one by one. The huge cauldron continued to spin in the air, but its speed was getting slower and slower. Finally, it stopped. Cold sweat the size of beans trickled down Yunxiao's forehead. He did not know whether it was because it was hard to receive the information or because his soul power was damaged. After a long time, he slowly opened his eyes, but his face was still pale. He took out a pill and swallowed it. Only then did he feel better. How is it? The demonic dragon asked in shock. Your starlight soul body was destroyed, and your soul was so severely injured? But that's just a rank 2 apparition. Yunxiao shook his head with a wry smile. I finally understand why Yuan Gaohan values his 8th tier soul so much. Once destroyed, his soul will indeed be damaged forever, and I'm afraid it will be difficult for him to make any further progress. I won't use this thing as a spy in the future. Now, not only is my soul power greatly damaged, but even my realm has fallen. If it falls a little more, I'm afraid it will directly fall back to the 7th tier, and I'll have no tears to cry. It's so serious. Who asked you to be so reckless? The demon dragon was shocked. Learn from your mistakes. My future is still counting on you. Oh right, what happened to you that your spirit body could be destroyed in the earth vein? Yunxiao's face suddenly turned serious as he said slowly, There's actually someone from the sanctuary here. It seems that the sanctuary has always been investigating the secrets of the boneyard. I followed the spring water and entered a very strange space. Then, I met people from the sanctuary. They were very shocked and wanted to capture me to interrogate me. I managed to get a lot of information out of them, and they killed me in seconds. The demonic dragon was stunned for a moment before it asked, Saint Domain? Then do you want to continue investigating? It seems that the level of involvement has expanded greatly. Yunxiao snorted and said, Of course I'm going to investigate. It's related to the origin of water, and it's the key for me to completely open the power of the Divine Realm tablet. How can I give it up so easily? Not good. His expression suddenly changed. After the change in his expression, he disappeared from the Divine Realm tablet and appeared in the garden. His soul power was greatly damaged, which directly weakened his control over these 9th tier profound armaments. The dynasty bell gave off a strong trembling sound, and the corpse puppet saber went crazy inside. The Divine Realm tablet and the 3 Northern Heaven Cold Star swords were beginning to give way, and they were gradually getting out of his control. Beads of sweat dripped down from Yunxiao's forehead, but he still could not hold on any longer. Bang! With a loud vibration, the dynasty bell was finally sent flying. The violent corpse puppet saber turned into a saber and broke the restraints of the 3 territory powers and the sword pattern. It rushed into the spring not far away, stirring up monstrous waves, and then sank into it. Yunxiao's face turned pale as he suddenly put away all the mystic artifacts. His eyes suddenly turned into blood moons as he stared at the deep spring, but the corpse puppet saber had long disappeared. It seems like it has escaped far away, but there is only one path down there. Could it be that it has gone against the flow? If that's the case, doesn't that mean we've entered that place? Yunxiao pondered for a moment, then plunged into the water and went against the flow in the same direction. The vitality of the spring water was extremely strong, constantly nourishing his body. His soul power was also recovering extremely slowly, but it would be difficult to recover to its peak in the short term. There's such a strong life force in the water, the demonic dragon suddenly said in surprise. Why can't I see a single living creature in the water? Yunxiao frowned and looked around. It was indeed so. It was just that he had not noticed it before. As he was gradually entering the earth vein, it was very dark and the water temperature was getting colder and colder. A few hours later, Yunxiao swam into a very wide space. Under the faint light, he seemed to be able to hear some sounds. Yunxiao's frown grew deeper as he asked in surprise, "Where did the corpse puppet saber go? This is the only path we've been on this entire time, and the passage above is guarded by saints. Could it be that the great corpse slipped out?" He swam in the water for a while, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. It's impossible to go out. With that corpse puppet's personality, it's impossible for it to not be discovered. Could there be another passage in the water? He began to carefully search the bottom of the water, but he still found nothing. Unwilling to give up, Yunxiao walked back along the passage and searched along the way. As expected, he found something strange. The entire waterway was so clear that one could see the bottom. There were no living creatures in it. There were short, shallow stakes at the bottom of the waterway every once in a while. They seemed to have been driven deep into the water, and only the height of 2 fists could be seen. They seemed to be arranged in a certain pattern. It's actually a hidden formation. Could it be that this underground surge was opened up? Yunxiao was a little stunned. He landed on a hidden post and grabbed it with his hand, feeling a faint power being transmitted from it. He pulled hard, but it did not move at all. Yunxiao's face grew serious as his body gradually turned into an imperishable golden body. With a strong physical strength, he pulled it out again. Finally, the shallow stake slowly came out under his desperate efforts. It was more than 2 meters long, completely beyond his imagination. Swish. When the stake was pulled out, it made a slight sound, and clear water began to pour into it. Yunxiao looked at the stake, and his face suddenly filled with horror as his body trembled. The 2-meter-long column, except for a small section exposed in the water, was mostly black. It was extremely corroded, and he was not unfamiliar with this kind of black corrosion. It was the corrosive effect of demonic qi. Yunxiao slowly poured his soul power into the long pillar and carefully analyzed it. He found that it was made of 7th-tier materials and was extremely strong. His gaze once again focused on the hole. There was nothing special inside, and he could not see any demonic qi. His expression became extremely serious as he said in a deep voice, "I finally know why there are no living things in this water. It turns out that there's demonic qi corrosion. This demonic qi, which is so weak that it can't be detected by the naked eye, can actually corrode 7th-tier materials to such an extent. I have an ominous feeling now. It seems that this burial land is related to the great demon realm." What? The demonic dragon was stunned. There's a grand earth vein seal below. Could it be sealing a great demon? The demonic dragon said with a strange expression, "You've even released a great demon in Mount Meru and the outer space. This burial ground is so chaotic. You're really the savior of the great demon. If the sanctuary knows what you've done, you'll be the first one to die." Yunxiao held the pile and looked at it for a while, then said slowly, "Mount Meru doesn't know, but the outer space is greedy. If there really is a great demon this time, then there's nothing we can do because this is related to the water essence. It's necessary." His eyes were filled with determination as he began to pull out the hidden pillars from the bottom of the water. He pried them out one by one like a nail. At the same time, the speed of the water flow began to slow down. With the last one being pulled out, there was no flow at all. However, this was only a moment of silence. Soon after, the entire stream of water began to flow again, and it was getting faster and faster, in a different direction from before. Yunxiao's heart trembled. The shape of the entire underground river had changed without him knowing, and many tunnels that did not exist before had appeared. He was bold and skillful, so he followed the direction of the current. The current was winding and rugged, and after a long time, there was no road ahead. A large amount of water continued to sink into the ground, and at the end of the tunnel was a bottomless pit. This buy-in. Yunxiao fixed his eyes on the deep pit, but he could not see the end at all. There was only a large amount of water rushing into it. Enter or not. Unfortunately, the consumption of the Starlight's soul body was too great, so he didn't dare to use it again. If it was destroyed again, he would really drop to the 8th rank. Forget it. I've already come to this point. Would I still be me if I were to retreat? With a wry smile, Yunxiao followed the stream of water down. He felt as if his body was falling from the air, and his surroundings were dark, making him unable to see. He activated his divine body and emitted the light of the moon, only to see that it was an endless void, with spring water falling from the sky like a waterfall. Yunxiao's figure flickered as he rushed out of the waterfall. He stood in the air and looked down as he asked, could it be the underground world? With such a big hole down there, the burial land actually didn't collapse? Under the illumination of his bright moon divine light, the distant world was filled with rocks. It was eerie and terrifying, and there was no sign of life. Yunxiao gently pointed out a finger, and a golden beam of light pierced through the air and shot into the darkness, but it disappeared into thin air without any warning. This is Yingluo. Yunxiao looked suspicious. The power of his finger had disappeared inexplicably, but unfortunately, this place was completely blocked from divine sense, so he could not probe it. There are too many strange things in this place. I can't stay here for long. He suddenly flew down along with the current, and after flying for a few hundred meters, he landed at the bottom. It was actually a pool, and an extremely strong chi of life was emitted from it. Although the water was shattered by the waterfall, it was still clear and the bottom could be seen. The big corpse puppet was lurking under the water, motionless. As expected, it's here. Yunxiao's heart jolted. The life force in the pool was extremely strong, and he could clearly see a layer of faint green algae at the bottom of the water. It seemed that the life force here was far stronger than the fiend energy, which was why life could be born here. He gently stepped on the water's surface and wanted to go down to see what was going on. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in the water, and a sharp saber light rose into the sky. The giant corpse split open the pool and rushed up, slashing at him. It seems that this thing is extremely protective of the water essence in this place. My guess is correct, it has obtained its life from this place, so it does not allow anyone to invade it. Yunxiao's figure flickered, and he lightly touched the water surface to avoid the blade. The corpse puppet saber flipped in the air and emitted rays of cold light. It turned into a saber and slashed down. The water reflected a dazzling light, as if two blades were slashing down. Yunxiao sighed. It's so stubborn. Don't we have to subdue this thing before getting water? That's going to be difficult. Once again, he exercised his movement technique and dodged the blade by taking a few steps on the water. When the blade beam brushed past his shoulder, an aura of death rose from the bottom of his heart. The instinct of a warrior and the potential that came from the depths of his soul made Yunxiao's mind spin rapidly, and the world around him seemed to slow down. He had experienced this kind of aura of death before. It was the phenomenon of all parts of the body speeding up when he was about to die. The last time in the Tiandang Mountains, he had died after having this feeling. This time, it appeared when the saber light swept past him. Yunxiao's pupils instantly turned into a blood moon. He suddenly found that the saber light that had cut through his body was actually a reflection, and the real zombie saber was the one that had come from the bottom of the water. This discovery sent chills down his spine. The spiritual power in his sea of consciousness exploded and spread out, distorting the space like a black hole. His entire body suddenly teleported away, and a stream of blood spurted out, spraying into the sky. Yunxiao's body reappeared more than 10 meters away. A terrible wound spread from his shoulder to his waist, and more than half of his body was stained red with blood as it fell into the pool like flowing water. The entire space was silent except for the waterfall-like noise. After the zombie saber hit its target, it stood quietly on the water and faced Yunxiao without moving. Yunxiao's body went cold, and it took him a while to recover from the fear. He gulped, and his face was still pale. Usually, he relied on his divine sense in battle. If the attack just now was a combination of the reflection and the real body, it would definitely not be able to deceive him outside. However, in this place, his divine sense was completely sealed, and he could not tell the real from the fake with the naked eye. The wound on his shoulder hurt. The cut was so deep that even his bones were split open. His bone marrow was also flowing out with the blood, making him extremely furious. Yunxiao activated his imperishable golden body, and bits of golden light emerged from his wounds, slowly repairing his body.